Hi, welcome back to The Life of Liv and Boo. I am Liv and thank you for joining me. I hope that you've seen part 1 of this video. I wanted to make a Boozy Primrose cordial to pass the time. So it's another lovely sunny day that we can't spend outside. But if on one of your walks, a few of your walks, you've managed to collect some primrose, then you can follow along with this recipe and hopefully have something really tasty. So I've not made this before, but check out part 1, which is on the channel. Once all the parts are together, I will probably make a long video, but for now, you can watch part 1 and that shows you how to make the primrose-infused spirits. Now, as per usual, I didn't really read the recipe properly. As I said last time, I'm using a recipe on called Enchanted Living magazine and just kind of adapting it to what I have. So adapting recipes to use what we have at home is something that we should be doing anyway. So don't worry if what you have is slightly different because, yeah, we can adapt things. Although if you saw my last video with the brownies, you can see why sometimes adapting recipes doesn't always work, although I did make it work in the end. So yes, ramble over. So if you've followed the instructions for part 1, you might have something that looks a bit like this. Now I was surprised, it's a boozy, they call it an enchanted primrose cordial, I've called it a boozy cordial, just to make it a bit more clear what it is. And this recipe, not gonna lie, has been a bit annoying because, as I say, didn't read it properly. I didn't realise how long it took. So this has been brewing for about 2 weeks. So you can leave it up to 3 weeks. So I thought I'd be able to film part 2 today and then get it uploaded and that would be that. But we have to do the next step and then leave it overnight. So what I'll probably do is record this today, finish it tomorrow and then upload it as part 2. This looks a bit grim, but it's pink gin and primrose blossom. And what we're going to do is we're going to strain this. We're going to make a sugar syrup using water and the hob behind me. I'm going to do that in a minute. And then we're going to add the two together, let it do its thing overnight, and then all you do really is strain it, and then you've got your boozy cordial. And I might add a bit more alcohol to it. I've got a little bit of pink gin left, just to make it a little bit more boozy, a little bit more fun for while we're stuck inside. So what you need before we start, they measure out in cups. So they say 2 cups of sugar. Now I've got so many different types of sugars. I've got this, which I thought would be really nice. I like brown sugar, a soft light brown sugar. And then we have cooking sugar, we've got caster sugar here. So I'm going to use 1 cup of caster sugar, 1 cup of this sugar, and then we need a cup of water. So I'm going to turn the camera off now, turn everything round, and so you can see what I'm doing on the hob, and I will record the last bit tomorrow and I'll see you then. Okay, bye bye. So here we've got our sugar and we have got our primroses. I can't believe how much sugar is in it. I can't believe, I guess normal cordial has this much sugar in. And actually making these things, I know it's unhealthy, but it does give us an idea of what we're actually putting into our bodies on a regular basis. So here, that's 1 cup, 200 grams, 200 grams. Now I hope that I've measured this out correctly because I don't know if the quarantine's affecting my brain or something, but I just can't think right at the moment. So there's our sugar anyway. And here we have our blossom. Now you can probably see that some of them look quite old, and yes, they do look quite old. And I've gathered them as I can over the last few days. Of course, it's very difficult at the moment to go to the right places. And as I said before, I don't really want to decimate one area of all of its blossom because obviously I don't want to kill the plants overall, and then there's bees and other insects and that rely on them. So I actually found some pink blossom as well. So that's quite nice. So yeah, some of them do look quite old, and if you'd rather, I just didn't have time to film yesterday, so you know, it's not perfect, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Also, I'm going to be very careful because there's other bits in there. I did get some leaves as well, but leaves aren't a problem. You can eat the leaves like lettuce, so I just added them into a salad. And I'm just going to be very careful to take out any little bits of grass because, you know, if you're just grabbing quite a few at a time, it's very easy to get a bits of grass. Now, I haven't weighed this, but it does seem about the same as what went into the Boozy Spirit. 100 grams it should have been, I think. Yes, 100 grams went into that, so I think this is the same. Now, I'm not going to bother really de-stalking them too much, but if they're really long stalks, it might be worth setting them aside. I've also collected some of the buds before they're fully opened, and I'm definitely gonna, I know some of them are not in great shape, but you know, it's going to be boiled down and strained, so it'll be fine. Now, the first thing we've got to do before any of that is we're going to strain our blossom, our Boozy blossom. And how I'm going to do that is very simple. I'm going to put just a normal bowl and a sieve, because it's not a lot. If it was a big quantity, I'd get maybe a different bowl. And literally just pour out the whole thing, because the primroses are infused with the gin as much as the gin is infused with the primroses. And then, just to make sure I get as much gin out of it as possible, I'm just going to press down with this spoon and squeeze. There's probably better ways, more sophisticated ways of doing this, but this is the way I'm doing it. So I don't want to go too overboard with this, because the idea is to strain it, I think, and not have bits of old primrose. And when you think you've got about everything you're going to get out of that, here we go. Okay. So this obviously smells very strong. I'm quite tempted to try it, a little bit of it, and I might do, but we'll see. Obviously this colour, it was going to change colour, the gin anyway, because it's been infusing for a couple of weeks, and it was pink gin to start with, but don't you think that looks, you can actually make, it looks like honey, and you can actually make honey this time of year with dandelions and with primrose. And actually, if I pick enough dandelions, if I can be bothered, there's a lot of them out in the fields at the moment. If I get enough dandelions, I might show you how to make dandelion honey. I've never done it before, but I've never done this before either. So, you know, all about learning new things. The next thing we need to do is chop our primroses. The next lot of primroses. Again, just checking for any bits that shouldn't be there, any leaves that shouldn't be there. Primroses are very easy to identify. There's not really, I mean, I couldn't really mistake them for anything else. And you do get that purple variety. So as I said, I don't really mind having the stems there, but if they're really long, say like this one, then I'll get rid of it. Now that I'm certain that there's nothing in there, see? Nothing in there that shouldn't be. There we go. So you don't need to do it too fine or anything, just roughly chopped will do. So reading the rest of the instructions, this we don't need until tomorrow, so I actually could have let it straining for another day. But I'm really, really curious. It is very fragrant. I think, as I worried from the beginning, the pink gin may be overpowering the primrose a bit, but I think until we've made the actual cordial we won't know. So I'm going to put this in a jar or back in that mason jar after I've washed it to store overnight. But for now, we need to add a cup or, well, half a pint of water to a pan. On a medium heat, we need to add the sugar. And we need to get this to a point where it's all melted. So because we've used that brown sugar, well, so I've used that brown sugar instead of just white sugar, we've got this lovely colour. Let's see if we can raise you up. See the colour of that? really interesting actually. And again, now I'm worrying that this we're going to kind of overpower the primrose. So just do how you feel. I mean, if you just want to have normal sugar in there, and once that's boiling, you need to cook it for 5 minutes. And let's just make sure that's on a medium heat. Here we are. Remove that from the heat. So this, wow, smells very interesting. The next stage is simply adding the primrose. Just again making sure that all the blossom is covered, and then all you've got to do is cover and leave overnight to let everything infuse. So if you just want to have a little look at that, get closer up, you can see all the blossoms starting to instantly kind of melt in that hot syrup. I'm going to just leave that covered overnight, and then I'll resume this video tomorrow and hopefully we can finally finish. Okay, bye bye.